All right, KFC Radio. We finally got Chris D'Elia, who we've been trying to track down for a couple years, and I feel like quarantine kind of made it happen because it was like, we'll just do it over the computer now. So I guess there's some good to come out of it.
It's good, yeah. It's funny. I don't like to leave my house, but now that the quarantine thing is happening, all I want to do is get out of my house.
All right, are you itching?
D'Elia, I was saying that the other day. I've learned that my fetish, my sickness. I don't like doing nothing. I like not doing other things. That's
I like how you phrase that. That's good.
I don't like watching Netflix. I like procrastinating and not like going outside and doing the things I'm supposed to be doing.
Very interesting. That being one of the first things you told me about yourself is very telling, and honestly, probably all I need to know. And you're my type of guy. You're my type of guy. That's good.
So what? You're the opposite. You always just hang out, but now that you're forced to, you're like, just let me get out. I want to go out. I want to go out.
I can't say I don't like to leave the house. I like to go. I like to be among people, but not with the people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which
very much.
Why stand-up is so great for me because I'm among the people, but I am not in any of the groups. I'm alone on stage, and they're in the groups.
Yeah, that's kind of. In fact, that's another thing we recently talked about. With like, that's why I miss bars, because being at a bar, like you can be alone, but like you're still not alone, right? Like I can just be sitting there quietly with a friend, maybe, or quietly alone, and there's still plenty of action going on, plenty of stuff happening, but I'm just not. I don't feel so isolated.
I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy at the bar that's like in the back of the bar with my back towards everybody, and then when they mention something mysterious, I turn around and I start talking about it.
You weren't there back when it first happened.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember those days. Yeah,
business has been good for you, huh, man? I mean, season 2 was a hit. Obviously, the comedy thing has been popping. So, I mean, you've been doing this for a long time now, though, right?
Yeah, it's weird to say that I've been doing it for a long time because it still feels like, when I was, it's been 14 years. I think it'll be 14 and a half years, and it's just a weird thing to think about. I remember when I was the new guy. I think it's kind of like being young. I mean, you guys are probably young. You're younger than me, but like, I still feel like a young guy, but I just turned 40. So like, I'm young as it pertains to your whole life, but I talked to my dad the other day, and he's 72, and he's like, I still feel like a young guy. I still feel like I'm new in this comedy, in the stand-up business, but I'm not really.
Well, that's what the comedy world is a weird one, because it's, in sports, it's like you run through your prime and you can't play anymore, you're retired.
Yeah.
Comedy, I'm sure you have a prime of some sorts, but you can do it for fucking ever. So
I feel like guys who are I feel like guys really hit their prime when they're in their 50s. You look at the guys who are really doing it right now that are in their 50s. Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, not Brian Callen, but these guys, they're in their 50s and they're killing it, and it's their best time. And I think that guys like that, as long as they stay in the clubs and not become a touring theater act, you stay relevant and you stay good, because you got to go against guys. You got to go, not against, but you got to follow guys that are coming up and current and in the new scene of comedy that you might lose touch with if you don't constantly check in and pop into the Comedy Store and stuff like that.
You think it's better?
I know that I think I've heard that it was a knock on like Eddie Murphy, where once he popped off, it was like he couldn't relate anymore, or maybe it was Chris Rock.
I don't know, but I can imagine that I always joke on my podcast that's my fucking goal, dude. Is to look at another. I remember this was years ago now, but Curb Your Enthusiasm. Jesus, his name is escaping me like an idiot. What?
Larry David.
Larry David. Fucking, I'm gonna burn in hell for that. But Larry David. I introduced myself to him, and of course I'm not even close to as big as Larry David, but I had no idea who I was, and I was like, that's my goal, is to be that big and unaware of who's got Netflix specials. That's amazing. You made it.
Is a Netflix special? Are you about to lose touch with us?
I hope this is the one.
Yeah, I mean, see you never, dude. Thanks for the time, but
I hope I see you guys in like 3 months, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I just don't remember who.
Now, was it weird for you to? I mean, how long ago was Whitney? That was a while ago, right?
Yeah,
and I mean, I feel like if you told me now that Chris D'Elia and Whitney Cummings were doing a show together, it would be like, holy fucking shit, stop the presses. And back then, was it just like a little too soon, you think? Or like when you
I was 30, so it was 10 years ago. Jesus Christ. And it was 10 years ago, and people didn't know who we were. And I remember that show was promoted everywhere, and that and my first special came out in like the same year. And then the next year, like social media became a thing for me, and I was like, oh, I got to get on the social media train. All those things kind of like aligned and helped me, kind of get a fan base.
Did you feel like you had like made it when that show started, or were you still like, this is just the beginning?
I'm starting to get that question. When do you feel like you made it? And I always say, I'll let you know. I don't feel like I made it yet. And I think that that's a good feeling to have, though. I feel like if you feel like you made it, maybe that's the beginning of losing touch. As a comedian, you just can't lose touch. You can't you can't, some comedians get so big and they're just so famous and they are able to remain grounded. And some, I guess, aren't. I don't know. But
that's some Tom Brady shit. People ask Tom Brady, what's your favorite ring? He says the next one.
Yeah, fuck off, Tom Brady. Fuck off. But it's also such a weird industry where it's like, how could you think you made it when there's like a Chappelle and a Rock and there's always some megastar who's ahead of you.
I think that there's very few guys that kind of become as big as Chappelle or Chris Rock and are still. It still feels like they have stuff that they didn't do yet. Like, they're still the cool guy to like. And that's a hard thing to pull off, I mean, it's very easy for people to be like, all right, another special from this guy, who gives a shit? But those guys, those two and a few more are just, they have that factor. I don't know what it is that they're just to have something more to say.
Do you think the factor is, and this is probably kind of a chicken or the egg thing, where it's like why you need to hear everything they have to say is because they're not on social media and like they don't have podcasts? And
I think that does. I do think that does help it. I mean, I don't think that's all it is, but I do think that does help it. Like, but for guys like me, I mean, I think most of the comedians are using social media to become that guy. But
they were already huge, and
right.
I don't have to get on this. I'm big enough. And then it's kind of added to the allure. Like, they don't do anything. It's crazy. Like, whenever they step in, you need to hear it.
I think you have to have a little bit of mystery about you to be that guy. And it's really hard for a comedian to have that kind of mystery because a comedian is supposed to just lay it all out there on stage.
Mm-hmm. You know what I like from you that I feel like gives you a little level of that is having no guests on the podcast.
Yeah, that was honestly out of me not wanting to have to rely on people coming. And I also there's like a few guys in my circle that I can do bits with, and I feel like they add to it and I add to theirs. You have like you guys have it together, but so you mesh with some people and some people you don't. And it's like, after 10 of my friends coming on the podcast, I don't know who would be next. And I think that it's fun to like make up these bits and do silly shit. And I can't do that with, if I have some actor on the show that I don't know, some guy from NCIS, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Listen, if we're taking on the NCIS guests, we got to change course. We got to do something different.
It's the most popular show on television. What do you mean you got to change course? They're the fucking guys.
It's been enough. That was actually a joke in the show Whitney, when she made a joke. She said, "Oh, what all you do is watch NCIS," and I added, it's the #1 show on television. That's so funny that you say that. That was a joke we did in Whitney.
It is. It's like, I don't watch it, but when people are like, "Oh, who cares?" Like, apparently everybody cares.
Yeah, everybody, I know.
Show in the world. That has been fucking Big Bang.
Before we hopped on here, we were just talking about the latest latest stupid fucking thing on social media of the day, which I feel like you're pretty plugged into.
Yeah.
But the latest that went viral was that it's gay to order dessert. That
that was today. Was that today?
Was it today?
Yeah.
Yesterday? We talked about it today, but yeah.
I just saw that like a few hours ago. Yeah, on Twitter or something, was it?
Yeah, she said if you order dessert, it's a red flag, and that men are supposed to eat meals with no appetizers and no dessert. And if you do that, she starts to question your masculinity.
If you order an appetizer and dessert, I mean, that's like so 1930s to think that way. Like to be like for men to like not eat. That's like remember in The Sopranos when when they were like when they had that whole thing where it was like, yeah, I go down on you. I eat pussy, but I don't want guys to know because that's gay.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's so manly to do that, and it's so manly to eat the most food.
Like, so she said I would rather order my man order 2 main entrees and get all his food that way than get an appetizer and a dessert.
Imagine if it was reverse and the guy was like, no, a girl orders a fucking salad.
Yeah. Oh. You know what? We should do a little social experiment. That's what I'm going to tweet out. If you order an appetizer and a meal, you're a fat bitch. Done. See how that goes.
If I went on Twitter and I said, if you're a girl and you're on a date, you order a fucking salad. If I said that on Twitter, that's it.
Over.
But I was saying, like, I agree with her to an extent. There are dainty aspects to the dessert. If you were to name one aspect, one course of the meal, the feminine course, the dessert is the one you're gonna say.
Now,
don't get me wrong. I eat the hell out of it. I'll eat it.
All right, that's okay. Yeah, sure. Yes, comedically, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. No, okay, sure. Yeah, I guess it's like to think about Jason Statham in an action movie being like, yeah, I'll have the tiramisu. It's like not. Yeah,
with the little raspberry drizzle. Like,
right.
We get it. What would you say has been like your biggest social media moment? As a, I mean, you still obviously think of yourself as a comedian, right? Like comedian first, actor second.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing more roles now and stuff, and but yeah, I think comedian is where my heart is. Yeah.
I feel like the Eminem shit was just wild, though.
Yeah, that was bonkers, man. I mean, I was just talking to somebody about this, but it's like the goal is as a comedian to get your own TV show or to get this special or to sell out a tour or whatever it is. And those are all the things that when they happen, it's amazing, but it's the goal. In the back of your head, some part of you is thinking, I'm going to be able to do this and I'm going to accomplish this. But stuff like, hey, Eminem called and wants you to be in his music video and play him. And not only that, he wants to play you. Is not the goal, because you would be a crazy person if I was like, yeah, I'm going to do stand-up because one day I'm going to play Eminem in a video.
Right.
That stuff is always the extra special stuff that hits you, that blindsides you, and is just like, just so special, man.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what it is? You know what it is? It's the dessert.
I feel like just like if you just didn't say the word Papkins, like who knows? You know what I mean? Like the littlest butterfly effect and the littlest thing can change course of everything.
I mean, I did that on my drive-through. I don't know if I was waiting for like my girlfriend or something. I mean, this was at least 3 years ago at this point.
Was it?
That I did the video, yeah, because I was in another house, and I have been living in this house for
shit.
Yeah. I was in my driveway of my old house. Yeah, I know. It was, though. It must have been. So, and it got, I put it on Instagram, and I was just like whatever. I think his album came out, something came, and I was like, maybe this will get us some traction, because people were talking about Eminem for something earlier in the week. And then it got a lot of traction. People, and then like a month or two later, Black Twitter ran with it, and they were like, this dude says this is how Eminem raps. And then it got really big, and then Eminem retweeted. My buddy hit me up and he wrote, "Bro, Eminem," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I texted him, and he was like, he tweeted about you, and I was like, And I looked and I was like, I mean, I was just it was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, and he's the type of guy, like, he's kind of like the Chappelles of the world, where like you don't hear from him much. He's pretty reclusive. For him to like pick that and come out of like hiding, basically, that's fucking wild shit.
In my head, I was like, to me, it's what makes him one of the best. It's like he can poke fun at himself. There's so many rappers that are just like, I mean, rappers are not known to have a sense of humor,
Right.
So when they do, it's great. People,
they're hyper masculine. They don't know what to deserve.
No, Eminem ain't ordering the cheesecake. No way. I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of the polar opposite of comedy. Like, there's no self-deprecation. You're never clowning yourself. You're always lying the opposite. You're saying how big you are and like tough you are. So the fact that he came down and did that is pretty fucking wild.
You said at the start of that like it's something that kind of caught my ear was you were like, the dream is a have your own show. Is that still like a dream? Like you like I hope that
it's not the goal. I don't think it's the goal even for a lot of comedians anymore. I think the goal is to have a successful following, and you don't, in the 90s you needed a TV show for that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Seinfeld, you talk about King of Queens, this kind of stuff. You needed that, and you don't now. As a matter of fact, more people watch a lot of our podcasts than shows on certain networks. So, that's the goal.
I think there was a time where people a couple years ago would say like, I don't even want a TV show. And they were kind of like, but if you offered me one, I would definitely take it. And now I think it's getting to the point where it might not be the best use of your time. No, because there's just other ways to make money and build your following.
I would not do a TV show right now unless it was either my idea that I wanted to do or something that was really interesting to me. But to take a role on a sitcom, I just would not do that.
What about writing it? Or like if somebody came... Yeah, or the bag was fucking huge.
Yeah. But honestly, you make more money on the road. You make more money on the road. You make more money on on the podcast, man. Like, it's just TV money is not the bag anymore, unless you write it and produce it as well, which I'm developing something now. I got 2 things that I'm developing, and if either of those go, they would just be so fun.
Any more insight on that, or you're not talking about it yet?
I can't, but you guys are going to love it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like whatever it is will be a success.
I've been wanting to do something like this for quite some time. And I think that especially like your fan base, your guys's, I think that you'll be really excited about it. So
the new special's out now, No Pain.
Yeah.
How many Netflix specials you done now?
This is my 3rd Netflix special that I dropped, unless you count. Well, that wasn't really a special, but that Comedians of the World thing. Right.
And
then my first special was on Comedy Central.
Is there any level of like? I feel like getting the Netflix special is a first goal, but once you're on to like your 3rd, I mean, are you going to do theoretically like 7, 8, 9, or is there some sort of like cutoff where eventually it's not like diminishing return?
No, I don't know. I mean. The goal is always to, it's great that I know my fans are going to watch it, but that first week of it's on the homepage, people are going to be like, oh yeah, this is the guy from You or whatever. Let's see what it's all about. Those are the people that I'm trying to get. And I'm still, I mean, I'm really fortunate. I'm able to pack shows, but there's always bigger venues. So I want those people too.
I mean, you could be like a Brian Callen, you know what I mean? It could be worse.
Right. It could be worse. Yeah. But no, I just feel like, I do stand up for me. I like to, make specials because it's like a marker in my life, so I don't know how many I'll do, but, I think every 2 years or so it's been for me, and that seems good for now,
Is that shit that gets negotiated? You mentioned how it'll be on the front page. Are you like, I want a week on the front page, or is Netflix like, here's what?
No, that's just that's just always household by household. Like if somebody watched I think if somebody watched you and also another Netflix movie I did called Little Evil, then my thing would be suggested to them. You know what I mean?
Did you play a pedophile on that one too? Because you went on a hot streak there, bro.
I know that's 2 pedophiles. Yeah, 2 pedophiles.
Are you? Was there a part of you deep down in places maybe you wouldn't admit that's like, hey, it's pretty good to have a special coming out in the middle of quarantine?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I of course I wish that this wasn't happening, but I guess that's some of the silver lining of it. I mean, people have to be home, so I guess I kind of lucked out in that way. I mean, I hate to say, of course, I hate what's happening in the world, but if there was one time for people to be home,
not too bad. Silver lining, like you said. Yeah. So yeah, the new special is on Netflix now. You can see it, No Pain. And be on the lookout for whatever this big project is, because I think Chris is right. I think it's gonna be right up our fans' alley. So we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, man. It's nice to finally talk to you guys.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. So very happy to finally do it.